Do you ever feel like you just don't have enough time to do the stuff you really want to do? You're so drained or distracted or tired, you really make no progress on your hobbies or learning a new skill or maybe a new creative endeavor, maybe not playing the game you want to or just enjoying your free time. I used to believe if I just had more time, if I could just clear my schedule, I would be so much more productive. I could finally enjoy my hobbies, do all the stuff that I want to do, and I daydream about the things that I love. And while, more time is nice, let's be real, as you get older, that is not the way it goes. You get more responsibilities and it only gets tougher. What I really needed, though, was better habits and better systems, because without those, at least for me, I just fall into chaos. And when things feel chaotic in life, even my downtime is off and compromised. I'm just passing time instead of enjoying it. So on our Thursday videos, we've been talking about some books that I've been reading lately. And today I want to throw out Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a great book. And it's not about making huge, dramatic, mega changes. It's about small, repeatable habits that shape who you become. And when you get those habits right, everything else, the focus, the happiness, even how much you enjoy your hobbies, that gets better. So in this video, let's talk about how to build better habits, how to avoid burnout, and why setting up some small systems can help you actually enjoy your free time instead of feeling like you're constantly playing catch up. One of the biggest takeaways from Atomic Habits is that your life isn't shaped by the big goals that you set. It's shaped by the small habits that you do every day. And this one hits hard. I am more of a goal-oriented person. I fully believe in systems. In order to accomplish your goal, you have to build a system. You have to put in the work. You have to, grind is kind of a weird word, but you gotta put in the time. But in order to achieve those goals, at least for me, without good habits and systems, I get overwhelmed, I procrastinate, I start neglecting the things that actually do make me feel good, like exercising or eating right, keeping my workspace clean, even making time to play games I actually enjoy instead of just booting up an easy live service game or whatever. And the thing is, when you don't have systems keeping you in check, your brain just defaults to whatever is easiest, the path of least resistance. That's why you end up watching Twitch for an hour instead of playing the game you actually want to. That's why you maybe scroll instead of doing the hobby or the instrument or the exercise stuff that you want to. And it's why you feel constantly busy without actually feeling productive. And that's the one that gets most to me. And it's really easy to tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. I know I need to do these things, but today was too much. But the wild thing is, once I started setting up small habits that support my life instead of working against it, things started to change. I've been pretty robotic the last year about going to bed at a consistent time. And that has been really helpful. I won't tell you that it's made me super energized. I'm trying to aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And some days I miss it, but for the most part, being consistent on that wake up time and the bedtime has helped. It's a small thing, and it took a while, but it's helping. When I wake up, instead of pulling up Twitter on my phone or the YouTube Studio app, which I would do all the time, that's the worst possible way to start the day. I began to make my bed, make a coffee, and then journal for 15 minutes. Just write a stream of consciousness for 15 minutes. Ali Abdaal, the author of Feel Good Productivity, he calls it the Morning Manifesto. And I kind of scoffed at it at first, but now I'm a month in and I need it. It helps me get my head on straight in the morning. I don't just dive into a dopamine trap like Twitter, where outrage and politics and all these things immediately hijack my mind and my emotions are running all over the place. I started trying to be a lot more intentional about how I spend my time this last year. And suddenly, Hobbies that had grown kind of old and stale, especially like gaming, they became really fun again. The point of it is, I am not good with motivation. And I can be disciplined at times, but I could, be very undisciplined also. And building systems beat out willpower every single time. That's kind of the point here. Now, here's the tricky thing, and the part that kind of stinks. When you start trying to build a better habit, it's going to feel like nothing is happening. In the book, it's called the Valley of Disappointment. It's that frustrating period where you're putting in the effort, but you're really not seeing results yet. Maybe you're making like little 1% gains every day, every week, or whatever, but it's not a milestone, and it's not something that's super apparent. Let's say you start working out to get in shape. After a week, you're not going to look any different. 2 weeks? No. You may start thinking, is this really worth it? An example from gaming. Maybe it's a new competitive game or whatever. You're probably going to suck for a long time before things really click. And before you make that big jump up to the next division or the next rank or whatever. StarCraft 2. I started playing that game in 2011. I had no RTS background, and I went from I think my first season I finished silver and then gold. And then for about 8 or 9 seasons in a row, I finished platinum every single season. And I really wanted to get diamond and master. Those are the 2 higher ones above plat. It took 11 seasons of work or whatever in plat to finally get into diamond. But when I did, it was like breaking through this wall. All of those seasons in platinum, it didn't seem like I was making any progress, but it was little just tiny gains every practice session. It's not linear. Progress does not just go up. It's compounding. You may not see changes right away, but every small improvement is stacking up behind the scenes. Then one day it does click. The problem is most people just quit when they're in this valley of disappointment. They stop before they see the breakthrough. And that's why a good system matters, because when you focus on the habit instead of the result, you keep going. For StarCraft, the only reason I started to see improvements was because I stopped grinding matches and I started actually practicing. So I would look at replays, I'd watch pro players, I'd take notes, I would research builds. And it was similar to what people talk about when they play chess. The best way to improve at chess is puzzles and studying. Yeah, playing is helpful too, but if the majority of your time is just spent mindlessly grinding out matches, you're not going to improve as fast. Okay, so let's bring it back to enjoying your free time more. Because if you're anything like me, you don't want to be productive all the time. You want to actually enjoy life and not have to treat it like a schedule planner. You want to have time to game, to relax, and to dive into your hobbies without feeling distracted, drained, or guilty. And that is where intentional habits come into play. We talk about this a lot on the channel. Limit your distractions. If you find yourself scrolling social media instead of gaming or reading or practicing an instrument or whatever, putting your phone in another room while you do that activity can help. If you're always switching games without finishing them, and you really want to finish them, put a self-imposed rule on yourself. Maybe 1 or 2 games at a time until you finish it. Set up a time for relaxation. Treat your free time like it does actually matter. If you're busy, schedule the day. Schedule time to unwind the same way you would a work meeting. It sounds dumb, but it is helpful so that you will protect that downtime, that recharge time, so it doesn't get hijacked by other things. And of course, at times, you're going to have to alter that schedule. But it's more so about that habit of setting aside, maybe it's 30 minutes before bed, that's when you read. And you try your best to preserve that habit. Make starting easy. In Atomic Habits, they talk about this thing called the 2-minute rule. If a habit takes less than 2 minutes to start, it is much easier to keep up. You don't have to start huge. You don't have to say, I want to finish 50 books this year or 100 games or, lose 50 pounds or something crazy. Just start with something that's really realistic. Maybe you read 1 page a night before you go to bed. Maybe you start your workout with just 15 to 20 minutes of working out if you have a hard time setting aside, big blocks for gym or exercise or whatever. Make it super simple and easy. Reduce the friction. It seems really small, but they do make a big impact. Now, I really like this book. I think there's a lot to it. I don't necessarily think it perfectly aligns with all the ways that I see things. So ultimately, you have to find what works best for you. You are unique and you're one of a kind, and no one can tell you exactly all the things that you should do. You have to figure that out, and it's a journey that everybody goes on. I do believe if you don't set up systems for yourself, life will set them up for you. And most of the time, that means falling into procrastination and feeling just exhausted, like you don't have time for anything. Maybe you feel really busy, but you're not getting any actual work done. I feel that all the time if I'm answering email and Slack and all of these interruptions rather than doing something that matters. So instead of trying to overhaul everything overnight, just start small. Pick one habit that will make your life a little easier or better. Focus on a system. Don't focus on willpower or a motivation. When you get into that habit, ignore the valley of disappointment. Just keep committed to that system. Breakthroughs do happen, and those are really gratifying. But if you've ever played a competitive game, once you make a big breakthrough, typically there's another long grind ahead of you, a long set of a plateau before you break out to the next level. And if you can stick to that system, that habit, you pretty much can guarantee you will make that breakthrough to the next level. That's all for today. If you enjoyed, please let me know. Any suggestions for these kind of Thursday productivity life tip videos is always appreciated. Hope everybody is having a really great week, and I will see you again very soon.